I'm
Well, you're going
excited.
to talk the entire time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. We'll see. I end up moving a lot, so just like, you need a mic.
I picked the chair with the arms to like
Plant yourself.
well to plant myself
To hold in.
because I'm very like all over the place. And so if I can like grab onto this, I can prevent this thing from happening.
Hold on, yeah.
Fair.
And, and one of the main reasons that I moved myself way back here is to prevent Kuma from whopping me.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Because I have had that occur, shall we say.
And you've got the ring, so it's going to leave a
Yeah,
mark for
I
you.
do. Look at that.
Ooh, I love that one.
Oh, that's
the
pretty.
teeth marks.
My ball.
A phantom nose.
Do you want me to hold this?
Nope.
Okay. Nope.
I need to know if it's going to die
Nope.
and whop me in the face, which it might.
Always a danger in production.
Obviously. Well, but, the scars look really good.
Yeah,
By the way,
gives you edge.
by the way, we are recording. So.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Of course we're recording.
Did we
Of
get the
course.
puppy pad?
edited into the credits.
I mean, we could. If it would just take a minute or two for someone to run upstairs and pull one. But
It helps my
We'll pull them when they sponsor
it
us.
helps my
Puppy pad
self-promotion.
sponsored by Chewy's.
My advertising department.
Not better help.
Yeah. No.
Factor meals.
Yeah. Just Chewy's.
so I was going to say, so if that's the case, we probably should switch you to a chair we're getting rid of, as opposed to
Well,
one of
you
the
need
new
to
chairs.
repulsive
Now
this
it's
one
gonna
anyway,
leave
right?
snail trails.
No, that's
That
the
one's
new
brand
chair.
new.
You know?
Yeah, it's these two that we're getting rid of.
If I have to clean any more of these chairs, Alexis,
Oh, that's
Yes,
what you're eating.
and then I clean the ones you didn't.
Oh, don't act like you don't like the arm length gloves.
If that happens, I'm sending this directly to Gillian Anderson.
please sponsor us.
Gillian Anderson. I mean, please.
Mel would like to special request a reenactment of a certain scene.
Oh my God. Well, I'll wait for the podcast.
That's it.
I'll
Her
let you-
uterus just explodes.
No, they did a promotional thing, but I'll wait for the podcast.
It's on. We're on it right now.
Okay. Oh yeah,
But-
again, do the introduction.
Oh, we aren't going to do introductions. It's
Okay.
better to be, totally anonymous, I think.
You don't need
Okay.
to know who we are.
I'm Alexis. This is 22 Sides. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 O's tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have no idea what we're going to talk about or do, but it should be interesting.
Well, we have some repeat guests. We have Kuma and Mel, and you might have heard about them from our ghost episode or the intersex episode.
We never
or
got to the good part of the ghost
Melani's
episodes.
We can keep it going.
We never got to the actual ghost stories episodes. We just generally talked about ghosts.
Well, we're
I
now in
think.
Halloween season. So if you're counting down after the 4th of July, we're definitely on the cusp of
And
Halloween.
So I guess we should go around and let everybody introduce themselves briefly.
Well, we can't let them not meet
Okay, so-
Rebecca. She's got to meet.
Well, I know.
Okay.
You-
Well, I'm
you were gonna
Robin
come-
Mack. I'm one of the
There we go.
co-hosts. Okay, they know me.
And
Yeah.
I'm Alexis again.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
so,
Hi, I'm Rebecca Bernstein, actor, director, and artistic director of Zoom Shakespeare Productions here in Houston. And happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Yeah, thanks for working it out. Melani's playing air
okay,
guitar.
so for the AI that's going to edit this,
No.
when you get silence, just give it to Mel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am Mel Peterson, and you are listening to 22 Sides of Horror.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. That's my EC Comics / Crypt Keeper /
Nice.
Creep Show intro for this. So, and I'm gonna send it on over to Huma.
But Mel, you should tell us more about who you are and what you do.
I mean, if you haven't been listening to this, that's really your problem. But I guess for those of you just joining us, you may remember me from such things as earlier episodes of this podcast and also certain queer art, performance, media, film tech in Houston, Texas. So now that you know a little bit about me, and I'm sure you'll know too much more about me going forward, I'm going to send it over to Kuma.
Again, yes. Hi, everybody. I am Kuma, and I am the co-founder and executive director of the Houston Intersex Society,
Yay!
the first and only intersex organization in the state of Texas.
Yay!
I'm also an interdisciplinary artist, and yeah,
Fashionista? I mean, well, we could keep going.
person who wears many hats and costumes.
And rings.
I was going to say,
Rings,
And right now, rings.
especially.
I'm
We're
not going to get to the
sitting
ring.
farther
Definitely accessorizing.
I'm totally
My
avoiding
fingers
the ring.
felt naked.
Oh,
It's good to dress them up every now and then.
That's
what,
true.
naked?
Your fingers.
I thought we were going to talk about it yet.
We're working our way towards the nudity.
Okay, so what are we here to talk about?
Well, for some strange reason, we were talked into going to a movie. I have no idea what the movie is. After watching it, I have no idea what the movie was.
Valid.
Except I do have some impressions. But I'll save those for after someone else gives theirs, because mine are probably going to be a little bit different.
Mel, why don't you set the scene?
Ooh,
'Cause
okay.
you curated this wonderful night for us.
Oh, it's
Is
you
that how we got there?
Oh, it was definitely Mel's idea.
You poor folks. You're going to have to listen to me for a good 20 minutes. Okay. All right. Well, let me try and make this brief.
Okay, you have 2 minutes left.
20 years left. So we went to go see the opening in Houston, Texas of Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, starring the fabulous Gillian Anderson. If you're listening to this, please sponsor. And also Hannah Einbinder. I think it's Einbinder. I'm probably terribly abusing her name, but she also gets terribly abused in this film. So,
True.
but she enjoyed it. So there's
Yes.
that. If you haven't seen it, it was consensual, which unlike most horror movies, right?
Eventually.
There was that one bit, except for that one bit. So yes, we watched the movie. It's by a trans female director who's an up and coming director. Has directed what was it? I saw the TV Glow, a few other projects. So she's really building a name for herself in Hollywood. And this was totally, if you're into horror, if you're into cult films, genre stuff, you will be spending the entire time being like, I know who that person is, or split diopter shot, you know? And that's exactly how it
Did you
is.
spend the entire time laughing?
I did that too, but internally I was also
You were
nerding out.
internally doing
I was trying to be aware of my fellow film goers and not scream at the top of my lungs.
Because you know, it was, if you go to the movie, and I'll give my sort of quick take on it, which probably isn't anybody else's at all. I mean, I don't mind horror movies,
Yeah.
but if you put things in that have absolutely no place in the plot and that are never connected on either end, I get a little bit bored with it because my mind is like, why was that there?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the way I saw this whole thing.
Yeah.
But it was very clearly like a teenager's idea of what a horror movie that has super sexual overtones should be. And so they threw in all this stuff that's supposedly supposed to create shock, but only created humor if you've been around a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said for like her, referencing all of the like overly sexual, transphobic, homophobic films of the 80s and 90s with, the cross-dressing serial killer.
Absolutely.
That evil hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
Kuma knows.
I was going to say, we had them all sitting on our row.
There you go. We are all in this movie.
Yeah. And I did find it interesting that, their person who was bringing them to an orgasm was named Little Death.
Yeah.
So we're going French. Yeah.
Symbolism.
Yeah.
I was going to say, or more like symbolism.
And it's like, okay, so we're learning
Feels
things.
very obvious to me,
Yeah.
though. And I'm just
Exactly.
going to put out there that, like,
Put it out there.
I tried to watch.
Was there any
I-
non-obvious thing in this movie?
No.
Okay, just
I
didn't
tried to
find it.
watch, like, I saw the TV Glow like 3 times. I couldn't make it through. I was just bored as hell.
Thank you.
And the dialogue was terrible, and the characters were just insufferable. I felt similarly about a lot of this movie.
Interesting.
And I felt like a lot of the stuff that was supposed to be funny, I knew it was supposed to be funny. I didn't necessarily find it funny. I had a lot of like eye roll moments. It seemed very like trite and like contrived. But I also understand what they were doing. And I think that it boils down to it's not for me. Specifically. Because I could hear Mel behind me like losing her mind.
What I was going to say is that you didn't have the laugh track next to you.
I had it
That's
behind
true.
me.
You were sitting right next to
Yeah. Yeah. So, and there was also, yeah. I'll kind of hand it over before I, kind of talk about it. But I'm very interested on how, like, with how different everyone at this table is, how we kind of perceived it and saw it and consumed it differently because. Like I said, Mel just loved it.
Yeah.
And I think I had a different experience. I think Alexis had a different experience.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious as to how everybody felt about it.
Do you want to say any more, Rebecca?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, I don't know. Like, probably in about a week or
I'm gonna let
tomorrow,
this absorb.
I'll message Mel and be like, here are my final thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
But when everything is thrown at you in a movie, and this was a movie where it was like, let's give you everything. Let's give you some bizarre, hard to follow symbolism and some very obvious symbolism and some comedy and beautiful painted backdrops.
Right.
Yeah. And some flashbacks. But we did
Are they
nothing.
real or are they in the movie?
We did nothing to let you determine which it was. But it couldn't be the same. Which one's the flashback was what I was thinking a couple times.
It isn't a flashback in the movie within a movie. Or is it a flashback within the movie?
The movie was a movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meta to it. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Meta. Oh, yes.
Yeah, meta. Yeah, not MAGA. Forget that. No. But can we please have a night without them? This is the first time I have been at River Oaks movie theater since their remodel, and I really appreciated going back into the space with friends. But I also appreciated when the credits came up just to see how many community members there were there. It was a beautiful, unplanned thing to see old friends, new friends. And I love that about movies. I've missed that about movies. I haven't seen a queer film since Q-Fest. And so, I mean, that's been a big deal. But Christian said to me, one of the things he was going to miss the most about not doing Q-Fest was the familiar community reactions. I mean, it's one thing to go to a film and not know anyone in there. And like Kuma was saying, is this film made for me? I don't know. I'm not going to laugh at the same things. I'm not going to feel the same things. But I feel like if I had to guess without surveying this particular crowd, some of them were really into horror film and then some of them just went with their friends like me. Like I would have never actually chosen this film. And I'm really glad I watched it because I stay away from entertainment that is about trauma. So
fair.
I don't watch trauma for entertainment. So there goes horror, right? But this was a little bit a good mix of campy. So it wasn't like too frightening. I was telling Rebecca my last horror film was Nightmare on Elm Street. So that was like a while ago.
The original?
Freddy Krueger, like the whole series, that was way scarier than this. So I was like, oh, okay, I think I can do this. So I kind of felt like I could relax into the movie, and I was really surprised by just how much laughter there was in the movie theater. Yeah. Like a lot of different laughs. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know horror film. I'm similar to Kuma. Like, I don't know why people were laughing, but I kind of liked it, But I wasn't laughing because I'm like, well, I don't really get the jokes, but it was still fun to hear it.
There was a lot of like nods and homage to like classic horror films and film tropes.
That makes
sense. I think if you're not someone who either like enjoys horror movies or knows a lot about them, that you might miss some of those things.
Also, can we just talk for a second about Ventman being the most ridiculous look and name for a movie serial killer?
Sure, yeah.
His little eyes staring out from the vent.
Ventman, who I think nickname was Little Death.
Yeah.
Same person, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ventman is actually pretty funny, though. I like that.
Like, with the spear.
With the spear.
With the spear. The big
And it
spear.
gets stuck.
And every time I saw Ventman, the first thing I thought was, yeah, they did run out of money. Or did they run out of creativity? I'm hoping it's money, because, that can be fixed. Creativity really can't be fixed if you run out of that.
But then, like, the Jeepers Creepers monster is
Yeah.
also similarly ridiculous and,
Absolutely.
like, not that scary, but still kind of scary.
Yeah. They had just enough vent space to be a voyeur, but also to not get splashed by
Keyword,
blood if
right.
they didn't want to. So
It also
that was
felt
interesting.
very kind of like Resident Evil video game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it did
yeah.
feel like that.
Yeah, Resident Evil with big imagery there. Anyone who's been to Comic-Con. Pointing at
Mel
me.
has, yeah.
For everyone listening, Mel is pointing at Mel South.
Thank you.
I keep expecting them to close the vent in the whole movie. Go up, pull a little chain that's hanging there.
Well, Mel,
Cosplay
from
outfits.
somebody who actually watches horror, like, what did you think? If somebody is a horror buff, would they like this?
Well, again, it's really interesting to hear all the perspectives, and we have different generational perspectives too, because this movie, and let me reiterate, the director's name is Jane Schoenbrunn. Hopefully I said her name right. I never saw any of the other films that she's done. Like, she's done a few of the popular ones. And usually I spoil myself for movies. I'm terrible about that, and that I'll research everything before I even go. But I really made a conscious effort to just go and see this with fresh as I can, knowing all the horror tropes and classic films this is referencing, and being very familiar with at least one of the main actresses.
Which one would that be?
Which
Mel?
one?
That'll be discussed later on when we get to the sex scene.
We're going to
Honorable mention.
Mel's edging.
Oh my God, the car right here. But we tried. I mean,
We already mentioned that Mel should have put a puppy pad down in the theater seat.
no shame, because Gillian Anderson
shame.
is a lot of people's sexual awakening.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just like to
yes.
say, honorable
true.
mention.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, so back to the movie. So yes, I'm very familiar with a lot of the tropes, but looking at this, just sitting down, watching the movie, trying to absorb all the things, because it was like a lot was thrown at you.
Yes.
If you're not familiar with horror tropes, you would be very lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they literally had to state certain symbolism in there multiple times, and it got to be kind of like a corny joke, because the minute you see the trailer, anyone used to old Hollywood movies knows Sunset Boulevard is exactly the symbolism they're going for, with Gillian Anderson's main character there, who's playing the actress who originated the Camp Miasma movie franchise, who kind of got thrown out of it because she was going through traumas too and couldn't, really get back into the swing. And then by the time she was able to maybe embrace that, the studios felt she was too old, and they have a term for this in Hollywood, where a lot of actresses get aged out of the system, is unfuckable. So yes,
But they were trying to prove that wasn't the case in this movie.
And it isn't.
And
with
it is
Gillian
not.
Anderson.
I am exactly that target audience, I would like to say. But and they're
was
not,
like,
not the only one.
Those rose petals are for me.
Oh God. Okay. Can we just talk a second? Okay, the lead up to the sex scene, right? We'll get back to it later.
Which one?
I know, which one?
The lead up to the second maybe sex scene was candles everywhere. I have this personal
Lots of
thing
candles.
in movies where if I see a ton of candles all over the place, did they buy stock in a candle company? Were they the spokesperson at some point?
Right.
Also, fire hazard.
Yes. Total fire
And a
hazard.
cabin in the woods
Yeah.
with a lot of old. So that's the part of me that's a tech safety person from theater and everything going, oh my God. So it's
your nervous system is kind of like...
My nervous system goes whenever it said that in movies.
But you felt better about the rug made out of candy.
I mean, that was just funny. But I was laughing my
That's
ass
interesting, though, because in the movie, they're all about trying to create a perfect nervous system for an orgasm. And then you were, as a tech person who favors these movies, were like, wizard!
So I can't breathe. That's part of the psychology of horror movies, though. It's kind of like between watching a porn film.
Sure.
And watching, like you said, movies that are geared around trauma. And in a way, sometimes those movies are like therapy reenactment. Because the horror scene, I feel like there's a lot of people who are deep fans of horror who have been through a lot of traumas in their lives. Like, sexual trauma, abuse, childhood trauma, other things. And it's very interesting to me that Jane, the director, has a lot of these movies focus on fandom.
Okay.
So they really center fan experiences of genre stuff.
That makes sense.
And try to examine like a psychological perspective while at the same time making us kind of safe space for reenactment. Because as you notice with a lot of the murder scenes and stuff, one of the reasons they weren't overdone is we were staring at the killer, not the people being killed.
That makes sense.
And even with a lot of the sex scenes and stuff.
So
Go ahead.
I have to say something real quick. Not overdone.
No.
So we're getting 40-foot geysers of
blood
going
geysers.
after they did it.
Not overdone by Mel's perspective.
Decapitating.
That's what made me laugh.
People
That's why I was
find
laughing.
Oh, good point. But there's a Looney Tunes angle to that, right?
Oh,
Because
yes.
we have actually talked about this before. Kuma is developing a kind of gory film. And we've discussed, okay, violence is acceptable, but when you make it overly cartoony, like, what's
Like
the mouse and the
like
cat?
Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, it de-emphasizes the trauma.
That makes sense, yeah.
So again, you're talking from how do we make it safe?
And see, like you were talking about the candles. When I see the candle, I'm like, okay, so I hope they've done the fireproofing that they have to do to have that many candles there. So this is the part I'm always looking at. If I'm working on a shoot or a movie or something like that, and then when it's some of the other stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm quite sure that spear is blunted the way it should be, so that it can't possibly penetrate, and hopefully certain areas they maybe have something on it, and then It's when it comes to things like that, and then when they start to do things that it's like, well, we're doing a geyser of blood.
The logistics.
The logistics of it.
It's very overkill.
Oh, yeah.
Because to do it the size they had and the height they had,
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And that pressure is really dangerous.
So that is
They
the
don't
other,
process
the
food.
anxiety points for me came from really weird, stupid, specific things that you'd have to be in a certain area of the industry to experience. I think.
Really
It
valid.
wasn't the death scenes, it wasn't the blood, it wasn't even a lot of the overtly sexual imagery and stuff, because I'm used to seeing that in these genre things. It was actually more the aspects of vulnerability.
Yeah.
For
Right.
one,
Right.
right? A kind of discussion of rape culture
Yeah,
and all
absolutely.
that aspect.
They
And then
danced around
also just the weird tech things where you're just like, all these candles, It's like, but I kind of feel they might have anticipated
It
that.
felt very much like a horror film for asexuals, or like
Yes.
Yeah.
which is like
Absolutely.
in thinking of
Definitely
like the
gray
things
ace,
that were
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
Like, and coming as like a hypersexual person, I had to kind of, really put my mind in that place
Yeah.
to be like, these are people that are hesitant about sexual encounters and
Yeah.
that intimacy and like all of those things. And so as far as like we're talking about like that vulnerability is
Yeah.
discomfort, and that can
Absolutely.
can kind of shift into terror for some people. And so I think that paired with like almost like a fear of orgasm. Like you want this thing, but you're scared of it, and the intimacy, and
The
like
little death.
all of these things.
I don't
right?
want to die. Yeah, exactly.
And I would say like that's kind of how I would explain it as very much like a horror film for grade A.
And again, that's the fan angle, because a lot of people I've known over the years in fandom, and I started getting into fandom when I was fairly young. Mm-hmm. I watched shows like Xena Warrior Princess and X-Files and things like that. And so at the same time I'm coming of age, you know, and discovering myself in a lot of ways, but still very closeted in a lot of ways until you find your community. You're going through this, like, you're always trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Like, legit, and this is the part Gillian Anderson said listen to. Early on in my youth, I did, in fact, have an X-Files inspired sex dream. And this was before I even realized I was gay, right?
Do tell.
I literally, this is the thing, right? It's like you don't think about who you're focusing on in the dream necessarily, but when you examine it later in life, you're like, oh yeah, I put myself in the character of Fox Mulder because that was the romance set up in the show, and I was focused on her. So when I was young, I didn't quite connect that yet, but these were the building blocks of like, oh wait, think about this. You don't talk about guys with other girls and stuff. You don't, and you have obsessions with like male iconography and everything too. So your gender is in shift and your sexuality is in shift. A lot of people in fandom, especially a lot of the trans fan community, found their spaces in these online groups and these collectives to where they could put themselves in the shoes of other people on screen and in fandom before they could have that in real life. So I kind of understand where she's getting that emphasis and symbolism from.
Definitely. I think that even like when you're talking about fandom, how that expands to things like cosplay and role-playing games.
And the furries anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, for real. Because people are able to like, or even like we talk like BDSM community, people that do puppy play or pony play. Like you have this like this persona, this person that you can be, and even to some extent, like as a performer, when people do drag, they have a drag performer. You can be a totally different person on stage. You know, burlesque performers.
You could have this like whole chemistry of romance on stage, and then all of a sudden, when you go home, you're like, oh, I'm not that person. That's me on stage. That's not me in the Honda. That's me on the stage, you know.
You're able to like live vicariously through these already established characters that are the traits that you would like yourself to be, but are maybe a little hesitant or that's not
and
you.
one of the things, Mel, you mentioned that you sort of came of age at the same time as like Xena and some of those things. Well, the other thing is, if you'd already sort of figured out that this is who you are, these were just great extra things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was lucky enough to go to Carson, California earlier this summer for the 10th annual Hellmouth Con, which is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer convention.
There you go.
That, which is a beautifully queer community and neurodivergent fan community, but it does get back to and I think there were actually straight up Buffy references, and I saw the TV glow.
Sure.
So much so that like the text in the show within the movie I saw the TV glow was the text in Buffy.
There you go.
But like the fact that it was, you know, that weekend that I was there was, you know, maybe 400, 500 people from all over the world who were all dressed up, and you know, there was something to be said for being so connected to a fandom that you almost want to live inside of it.
Absolutely. And I think it has been safe spaces for people who really like live in small rural communities who don't have this connection in their lives. A lot of stories I've heard from people online coming through these fandom like Buffy and X-Files and Xena and all these things was a lot of stories of like, I never had any community around me, and so I got to role play online and find these groups and find my tribe, right? In ways that you couldn't in person until you start traveling to conventions and being in these moments. So it is very much like it's the new age techie version of back in the day with zines and books and secret clubs and meetups and movie houses. So that's how a lot of people connected. Yeah. So I think it really is like how you have nostalgia films so much of the time for like old content. I really think this is like the internet age groups nostalgia film for like, hey, remember that time where you were growing up?
And I would say on the flip side of that, one of the other things that this film did sort of hold up a mirror to, and I'll kind of point this to Alexis to talk about as well, is that feeling as like a trans or gender diverse person, or for myself, like as an intersex person, seeing older films, or even, I mean, for some of us, these were, films that we were watching in real time where the trans person or the intersex person is the killer, is the psycho, is the villain. And like, what does that feel like? But also the ways that this movie kind of addressed that and yeah. Anyway.
They addressed that. Were you getting at something?
No, I'll let you walk into that, and we can talk about it more.
It's going to slip over into UFOs. I can tell.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, Gillian Anderson,
who has aged like fine wine. Melons and rice.
I mean, the big thing about it is that once again, for me, you can't do stupid things that have no connection. I mean, I'll give you one or two, maybe three, where I'll think about it, let it, do a logical leap, a big one. But after 4, I'm not even there anymore. It's like, I'm sorry, you need to do your work, writer. If you aren't going to do your work, why should I sit here and watch this stuff? Yeah, and that's where, to me, a lot of the slasher movies, like I don't do zombie movies because I'm like, they don't walk fast, just leave.
That's the funny bit.
And it's like, we take a double-barrel shotgun to zombies, knowing we have 2 shots. Do a friggin' machete. It doesn't ever work out.
Move. Not so much.
Just set a bunch of treadmills facing towards your property.
Exactly.
And you're fine. They'll never get there.
We just have this vision of a zombie just on a treadmill. Brains. Where are the brains?
Where are the brains?
I literally saw that movie though. It wasn't 15.
So kind of going back to what I was saying, I have recently been revisiting the Tales from the Crypt series.
Oh, nice.
And so like there's actually a couple of episodes. One where it's like, oh, the crazy guy killer is his own, he has an argument with his wife, and then it turns out it's him in drag, right? Mm-hmm. Or there was another one where it's like, this assassin person, and it's your husband, and we know it's him, and it turns out it's her, and she had a sex change or whatever, and
it's either
the crazy killer or like the secret twist ending, and like even knowing that those are 20, 30 years old, like
that's fine.
They feel new again because I haven't seen them in so long, and it still is just like, oh, God, for real? Like one of them, I was like, it's her. She's the guy. I know it.
We're already.
That's one of those things, at least with me, and I'm sure you do the same thing. The minute it starts to do anything where that's going to end up where we're going to end up, I can go to the bathroom.
You can clock it. You know it.
It's just there.
I think it was interesting that we were walking in, and as it happens, we were talking about But I'm a Cheerleader, and how it's a timeless cult film in itself, and how that is kind of loosely based around a camp, growing up, becoming of age, and how to assimilate the right perfect sex, and to basically code switch to be approved of, right? And then you have this film, as it turns out, I just saw some of like the similar story themes. So, it talks about, where the original camp scene, the girl wasn't empowered. Even the guy's like trying to talk her into something and that's like a shot where, but you'll like this better. I mean, it's just real cheesy and probably how a lot of women specifically in general have to disassociate once they get into a sexual experience because they realize they can't get out of it. So the thing they can do is go to a place in their mind.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and that's why you carry a big knife in your backpack.
Ooh.
Right. Right.
You are the killer in the room.
I fist misogynists.
Yeah.
I fist misogynists.
Can I put that on a
Yeah.
t-shirt?
Bumper sticker.
There you
working
go.
on it.
That's maybe the best quote I've heard in a while.
Well, and in the movie though, Gillian Anderson, Gillian or Jillian? How do you say it?
Gillian.
Gillian is trying to train, which a lot of us would find arousing in the like femme sense, but she's trying to train and lead the other lady, Hannah.
Chris in the movie. Yeah.
Chris in the movie.
I named her.
Yeah, and how to have that association where she's empowered. And then the trans character I find obviously like highly questionable, but they went from a bullying situation to basically curating and re-bullying or re-murdering, almost like a part of a poly addition to their sex scene. And so they were also similarly empowered at the end of the movie. But these people in real life are walking around talking about female and queer empowerment in their lives, and then they're using this film to be a talking piece. And I think this will be like the new coming of age campy film where we use it as a talking piece like we did But I'm a Cheerleader for so many years, I mean, and I think this is where straight cis het women don't have the language that queer poly neurodivergent people kind of do. And so it's like adding the feelings, the language, the context with a lace over of gore and flesh, I mean, because I don't watch a lot of horror films, but mainly this whole thing was centered around how to be empowered during a sex scene. Am I wrong? I mean,
that's basically.
they weren't like how to christen this camp or how to get the
those were really
the
set
hauntedness
design.
off of it or how to move on. It was all like how to finally orgasm and be an experience of that.
Yeah.
But the big thing about it is everything in this movie and how to be empowered by sex thing and how to get an orgasm, which seemed to take a really long time.
Well,
Yeah.
she's just bragging. Most people, there are still some people that don't have orgasms,
That's
true.
But the big thing about it is that every bit of what they did was what we generally consider a little bit questionable.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying not something I don't like.
yeah.
But everything, we had lots of blood, we had lots of pain, we had lots of killing people, just to get an orgasm.
I don't know about you, Alexis, but that's how I get mine.
Exactly. I'm like,
you got to be careful because if you kill them all off, you get no one left.
But they were alive again.
I mean, the
after.
spear was practically knife play. I
Well,
mean, what's the
and
problem?
So I think that symbolism also, like, the word that was used a lot was for both sex and violence was penetrating.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yep.
And so there's that symbolism there too. Like there's a reason that he stabbed people with a spear and didn't bludgeon them to death with like a hockey stick, right?
And he, kept stabbing them for you.
Yeah.
It was,
And beheading too, because there was some head action going on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's why the vampire trope has lasted.
There you go.
Because the vampire do it penetrates.
I just also want to put out there the chicken eating sexy chicken sauce.
Okay.
Eating.
Yes. So there is a place for the ASMR foodies that
If you are
there
a
is a
fan
place.
like me of the movie Tampoco,
yes.
and you like a little food play,
Yes.
just find a rip of just that chicken scene.
Yes.
Well, but I think
You're welcome.
Yes,
but
you are
I
welcome.
think there's a little zooming in and watching it come off the bone.
And the sounds, it's that like
the ASMR. Yeah. Well,
chicken strip dunking.
It doesn't
but
just
they're
jump
very
into
aware
it
of
though. Like it builds into it. It starts with the nail on the dipping sauce. Like
And also
you get to
so much chicken. Like,
That was too much KFC.
I mean, the sponsorship alone.
Yeah.
I mean, the product.
that was also, I was
Product
keeping track in my
advertising.
mind of like product placement.
Oh yeah, Coke was in there.
Kit Kat.
The Kit
a lot of
Kats, all the gummies,
All the
all
gummies.
the thing. There were shopping aisle scenes that honestly went on longer sometimes than the death or sex scene. I know, and you're just like, I really want you to know the kind of snacks I eat.
I was not the only one that thought like period play at the end. Too,
Oh, yeah,
right?
totally.
Like,
You were not,
that's not just me.
you were not
As
the
they
only
say,
one.
the red
You were not the only
I was
one.
thinking
You were
Carrie.
not-
The Red Wings.
Or
Definitely
Carrie,
Carrie.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely
the
Carrie.
blood soak. I'm wandering into town. and going
Definitely
through
Carrie.
all the
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Like post sex and your face is covered in blood. Like, I know what that is.
As a shout out to the cash register extra who really did your job. Like you were.
She was my
the
favorite
audience.
character.
Yeah.
I was like,
Also, I'm glad that Kevin McDonald is still working.
oh my God, yes.
Bless
thank
his
you.
little kids in the hard hall.
Kids in the hall. Again, all the movie filled with, I know who that is. I know who that is. You know, this was like, again, walking through young people in the early 90s. And so growing up watching all the cult classics like, Kids in the Hall and the horror films and all that.
Yeah, when I was sitting there's one point that, well, I think, Rebecca, you found something really funny, and I'm like, I have no idea why that was funny.
I don't remember when that was.
Oh, there were
a few laughs, yeah.
But I was sitting there, and then I started
You
laughing.
have arrived.
Yeah. Well, that was hilarious.
But
Laughter related.
back on the
Yeah. You have arrived. Yeah.
But I flashed to Rocky Horror.
Yeah. I saw a few.
And you know, the song and all of the movies that were in the song, but if you knew about them, I still see the scenes when they're coming on.
Absolutely.
When that
Oh,
goes
yeah.
through, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so they're doing sort of that bit with it.
Yeah.
And there's kind of over the top blood play with Rocky too, when he goes
Yeah,
a little nutty
absolutely.
on Meatloaf and stuff.
I will also say, and I don't know if anybody at this table has seen it, but there, at least in my opinion, was a strong nod to the Japanese movie R100.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I showed
Yeah,
Mel.
we watched it together, yeah.
And in that film, it's kind of this blurred line between orgasm and like getting high on drugs, like a drug addiction and like S&M. And in the film, it's this like businessman and his wife has like cancer. He's trying to take care of his younger son. He's like a salesman, and he joins a S&M club where like 100 dominatrixes will just pop up one at a time. Well, one at a time, right?
Every now and then
And just beat the ever-loving shit out of him. And so the way that like the director talked about, he gets
obscene
this like,
smile on his face.
and there's a sound in that film that they used in this film.
Yeah.
This like, I can't even mimic it, but there's a very distinct sound. And it's this like, in the film, it's both him like feeling fulfillment, whether that's orgasm, but the director was also saying that it's left kind of blurred of like, is he really in this like S&M club, or is it like, is he using drugs and this is like a nod to him getting high, or is this something else kind of thing?
What's the difference?
Chemically, not
Up
a
to
whole
you.
lot. To be real honest.
You know, a good S&M club and drugs are.
And it also has that like, I don't know if you're familiar with like absurdist Asian cinema, kind of bits to it.
It does.
So I was thinking a lot about
Magical
R100 when I was watching this, and especially I think it was that sound that like triggered that for me.
Oh yeah.
But
No, I found that too. Like most things in the Western culture, we often steal a lot from Japanese culture and then pretend that we didn't. But and hope you don't notice until later on when you actually research it. But
So if I listen to everything, we're all thinking this really should have been X-rated.
NC-17. I didn't see any genitals.
That's true.
really.
Genitals.
That's
Some
true.
boobies. Well,
To be honest, okay, I didn't grow up like everyone else did, but I don't know. To me, this is really on like the more vanilla side
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what-
Yeah.
you didn't really see anything.
that
Exactly.
Japanese film. Yeah, I could see where they would have a few things. I wouldn't, but then I'm not part of the censorship board. I'm actively against it. So,
And it's weird what
I
they
might add, I don't think anything should be X-rated.
well, there you go.
It's like you're worried about kids
Well,
going,
and really, the X rating thing, as anyone who's seen that documentary would know, it's really a punishment against artists to don't do this. Oh, we said don't do this, and so we're gonna make it harder for you to get in movie theaters to make money to continue your career because you did that thing we said that you shouldn't do, and that could be. Oh, you showed trans representation. You showed LGBT. You showed a sex scene where a woman actually enjoyed herself instead of being
Thank you.
assaulted.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
and the real scary thing is that these days you can talk about a particular politician the wrong way and it'll get X-rated.
Yeah.
Well, and there were drugs in it, and there were drugs with sex in it, and I think that it's. I mean, one could argue their sugar high might have been a little bit like higher than their marijuana high.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to
Candy.
go there.
I,
Candy.
I would also say the most graphic as far as like genitals that ever appeared was that weird VHS flesh wall vagina.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hated it.
That's true.
Shout out to Cronenberg.
Yeah,
Very
it did. It felt
Cronenberg.
very Cronenberg.
And was it Videodrome?
Yeah.
2 was very much body horror was an aspect of this. But again, going back to that, what do you find empowering in horror movies?
True.
I always kind of found body horror empowering. That's why some of my favorite horror
Interesting.
filmmakers, because it's always, and again, you come of age in these eras where there's very specific idealized body types, right? And I've never found traditional body types to really be that arousing. I've always liked unique looks, unique bodies.
I don't think you're
anyone.
alone in that, and I think this film does speak to those people.
You know, I mean, the joke in some porno movies is that a lot of straight porn features really fugly guys. But to a certain extent, I mean, it kind of works
Yeah.
better for me.
There you go.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
well, at least I'm not watching like Transformers over here where you can see the shine on a bicep or something and it looks like a Mercedes. I don't know.
I think one of the things that I also thought was interesting in regards to not necessarily like transness, but more so just like gender expression was we see at one point when the character like comes out and like a very like consciously is like, I'm gonna make a move on Gillian Anderson and is like topless but wearing boxer shorts. And so it but like that is the thing that makes them feel sexy in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And like makes them feel great. But when they're engaging in this play and like talking through like what is your fantasy kind of whatever, and they talk about like I kind of want to be the last girl in my panties like running with my big tits flopping around, and then a little bit later we see that, and like that is definitely like gender expression play, right? In that if this is who you are all the time, right? Maybe you are a little soft butch and you like to
With
you
your
know, you wear-
flannel.
with your flannel and your boxer shorts.
Yeah.
But like if you feel sexy like being the little white bikini panties and running with your boobs flopping, like that's valid too, right? Like that's what gets you off. That's what gets you off. And I think very specifically for me, it's interesting to see that presented in that way, because I think if this were like a cis man, right, the same sort of thing would be really shamed. Like, and so to see like how that's different in like a lesbian queer space versus like if it was like a gay man that was like, kind of butch and then like, oh, I get off on wearing lingerie. Society doesn't necessarily accept that as much as like this film. And so I was thinking about that a little bit too, the way like, even though this film kind of addressed depictions of like transness and stuff like that historically. I was still thinking about like how that felt like watching like a lesbian do that sort of presentation, and then thinking like, would that work if it was the other way around?
Well, and again, they addressed some things and some classic homophobia, transphobia tropes and things of the genre in this. I'm not sure they did it necessarily well. I'm not sure.
Right,
I honestly,
right.
I think, yes, they did
I
try
don't disagree.
They did try to address it.
That's where I was like,
They
it's,
really-
it's
they mentioned
questionable.
it. I think they were, but like you said, there were moments where it felt like if this was like a wholly, and maybe this metatextual argument was actually in the movie because the filmmaker in the movie, the young ingenue there, is literally always fighting with the studio execs as like, oh no, I want to do this thing and this perspective. And they're like, well, that doesn't make money. We can't profit from that. We can't, how do you even market that? Right.
Right.
Which is all the time.
And it's like, is it even a horror film if a woman's not running away, damsel in distress, boobs banging all over the wind in high heels?
Yeah,
Like, that's
and-
not
but they
practical
wanna-
that anyone
the
can
studio
ever run
execs-
that far.
the studio
But every
execs-
goddamn scene is like, it has to be in there.
Exactly. But that's the perspective
Yeah.
of studio execs now, too, is like they still want to use the same tropes of the genre. They just want someone who's like more enlightened
Right.
or of the community to come in and
Yeah.
reevaluate it and make it metatextual.
And she even says that in the movie. She says that in the movie. She's foreshadowing, like,
She's
you know,
foreshadowing
yeah.
what the director actually did.
I did very much appreciate the studio exec screaming, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah,
Because that's how I felt.
Totally.
Who hasn't gotten that?
Totally. But I think Kuma's right. Like, if it was a gay man being walked through his fantasy of a person he couldn't be that gets him off, and let's say he's this like frail twink, and then all of a sudden he sees himself as this masculine bear running to save the day, the film wouldn't have had the same twist, because I think a lot of us are very conditioned to seeing that damsel in distress, that like half nude woman, and it's, you know, is it a horror film, you know? And or even the cis guy that's like talking the girl into losing her virginity, when those bedpost notches, we all thought that those were his and his buddies, right? And then at the end, the twist is like the little death, you know, goes and puts it on there, you know? But I think that that's where I'm looking at. They literally took the time to walk out how she wasn't able to be that intimate. She told her verbally, and then they showed like, okay, this is how like an intimate moment kind of gets fumbled a little bit, and Jillian's like, hey, let's just make tea instead. Let's have s'mores instead. Like, we don't have to have sex right now. And then it's like, okay, let's come back and actually talk about the dialogue of like, who do you have to be like to be able to get there? And I'm not going to judge you. In fact, I'm going to facilitate that. And the next thing you know, like, not only does she facilitate that, like, she ends up going like over the top with like candles and roses and Sade, right? So like that was that was
blood.
It's so much blood, right? So much blood, and she walks her through that whole thing. I mean, as a trauma survivor, I think I talk to a lot of people that have been in similar moments, and they do stop themselves. They do pull themselves back. They do believe that the facilitator of whoever they'll be intimate with can't walk them there. And they do that through this whole movie. And I hope that like people will find themselves in like sort of like that gray ace area of like not feeling ashamed of not being able to be that type of person that can just like bang it out, put another notch on the bed, and then we're all like, I don't know, going to camp to get our first fuck experience, you know? Because that's also a Hollywood trope, is like, oh, coming of age, that's where we get our fuck on, right?
That's what I was going to mention earlier, you know, when you talked about the camp and the goodness.
Yeah.
How many horror movies that were like teenage horror movies and it's a damsel in distress thing, you know, that didn't occur at a camp?
Right.
I mean,
How many people at this table actually went to camp?
I did not.
Was your camp anything like?
No, are you kidding me?
Bingo. And his name was Bingo.
Alexis is like, yeah, I might have fucked a few people.
no.
Oh, I was forcibly made to go to church camp, and it wasn't fun.
I was fortunately made to go to church camp, and that's when I found out about things that I really wish I hadn't found out about.
Trauma.
That happens also.
Yep.
Yeah, there was no fun experiences of that type at Green Family Camp,
Yeah.
which is a Texas Jewish summer camp.
Yeah.
Although I have heard stories from others about
Isn't it always the story, though? And you always wonder, okay, is they just making this up to make the camp more
I
interesting?
wasn't seeing any of that.
You know?
But
You were
unlike,
jealous, right?
unlike in the trans character in the movie, I was not allowed to spend part-time in the boys' wing and part-time in the girls' wing. I had to sleep on the couch in the middle section.
Hell?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. Like, what did you think of that trans character? Because they obviously highlighted this is the transphobic part of the film, and
Literally said that.
the person was sort of like gender flexible, and then also definitely verbally traumatized by their parents, like the way the camp story went, the origin story.
It was very, very specifically a nod to Sleepaway Camp.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which if you haven't seen,
I haven't. Okay.
There's so
It's the crying game of horror movies.
yeah. So there's like a girl camper that goes there. There's a killer, and you find out at the very end, like she's standing there naked and she has a penis.
Which in the 80s, I guess, horrifying.
Right. But there were a lot of films at
I
the
know.
time where like the killer was trans or was like a cross-dresser.
Okay, I
or,
wouldn't know that. Okay.
and kind of same thing. Like they talked about, oh, well, this person was like gender fluid, but their parents were hermaphrodites. So you had the same thing where, it would be the twist where the person was really intersex, kind of thing. And that's why they were a killer, or they would change genders.
I see.
And so it was kind of a nod to very specifically like the 80s when that was like a trope. It was a thing.
Wow.
And that actually took a lot of effort to defend against.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, for our community.
Oh, definitely. Because we were either the killers or we were like the dead hooker. And that was it.
Well, and I think also it just like lends itself into people getting away with their whole scared tactics, where a lot of straight guys are like, oh, I was scared. I didn't know she was trans. So therefore my fear. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Therefore my fear was justifiable
exactly.
and caused harm. And he gets off about it.
And so, and we talked about like Hays Code and stuff like that. Like the reason that, villains, even like in Disney films, they typically have a foreign accent. They're usually like queer coded, right? Because it is to present queerness as a villain, as
That
evil.
makes sense. Yeah.
And
Foreign the same thing.
right, same thing.
I mean, and anyone who's not like, quote, us, of course, none of us, I suspect, is like the people that are the quote us. I mean, the standard.
The majority. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a way to instill that fear.
Yeah, there you go.
People.
Yeah. That's still very present, I think. I'm glad you brought that up because, I haven't seen a lot of horror films, but I could definitely see that.
Well, and it wasn't even just horror films, because again, when you're trying to isolate any community and other them, like dehumanization, it's in everything. It's in the news. It's in because the news had stories like that too. They would emphasize certain stories over just reporting. Everyone has one incident.
Yeah.
Quite a few years here in Houston, we fought with the police and the newspapers about how they reported trans deaths.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it was not pleasant. Now, we pretty much won that locally.
Yeah.
But nationally, you still see it pop up.
Yep.
And a lot of times it has to do with communities that are not big cities. The big cities have sort of given up because we tend to attack them very heavily when they do that. But, the small communities are like, well, and they just, start going on about what this person was and that whole bit. And it's like, you have no way of knowing that.
And there was that whole just like constant thing around the campfire where they're like, what a freak show, what a freak kind of thing. And it was like, they kind of did say that in like every...
I think
absolutely.
that was part of, and so that specific scene, the flashback scene, right, where you have your traditional camp around the campfire story of the horror that happened 10 years ago, right?
On this very night.
And trope of horror movie. So they kept shifting between tropes of different things. So you started with the trope of the horror movie going in literally the characters watching a movie within the movie, and the one director keeps pointing out things like split diopter, but then they also point out this is the transphobic bit, and Gillian Anderson's character says, "Shut up and just watch the movie." But it's like, because we know, right? We already know there, except for that one bit, you know. So you're going into it, and then they use this very offensive language. It was basically a trigger warning. They
definitely gave trigger warnings. Yeah.
Offensive historical language that a lot of regular people used over and over in the news or in your friend circles or in high school or whatever else. And they describe, you know, this supposedly real life trauma story, which, you know, who knows how much it's been exaggerated since then, but it sounds like a Fox News talking piece where it's like, oh, these parents, you know, they kept changing their kids' gender every day. It's like,
It really did sound like Fox News.
okay.
Yeah.
I definitely heard that on Fox News somewhere.
Definitely.
There, like, among the Haitians eating cats somewhere is
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So again, it's
Yeah,
like,
but
yeah.
the Haitians eating cats came after the Vietnamese were eating.
that's true.
They
You
came
know,
earlier, you-
historical
I just
evolution
had
of
to
tropes.
say that.
And as
It's
we
like a
all know,
movie.
They
in Springfield,
Yeah,
there's
that's-
the cows that are eating the dogs.
There you go. Watch The Simpsons. You know? So it's like, so again, you're shifting between all these metatextual tropes, right? You have the horror movie tropes, you have real life tropes, which people have lived through and had to like fight and interface. And then you have, and I think in a certain respect, this whole movie was meant to like put a mirror up to the audience and all of us in society and be like, hey, we've done these things.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
There is a
Absolutely.
way that reflects reality too, because in that story, right, they're talking about, oh, they had hermaphrodite parents and the mom was dressed as the dad and the dad was dressed as the mom, and this person was, you know, on these days they were a girl and on these days they were a boy, and they came to the lake and wearing a bikini. And it not only shows like the other campers like harassing them, but the line, what they say is that they drowned him because they had to.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that, like, of anything else in this movie, like, felt very real.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah.
we still experience that violence and
Yeah.
people feel
Yes.
like it's justified
Yes.
because of either our anatomy or because of our gender orientation, gender
Yep.
expression, right? Like, it's that line, although it's like, it sounds so extreme and almost funny, right?
Yeah.
Because the way they say it is like they had to.
Right, like they're
Right.
spoofing around
But
the
people
fire,
really believe
but
that.
the way it really landed, and I was with you on that one. It gives me goosebumps. It's like, but I think it's what Mel was saying is like it's also done in a certain way so we can all examine, like,
Yeah.
you know, how many cis dudes have been around a circle and picked on the weak one? You know, how many cis women have, you know, talked the fugly girl out of the circle or whatever, you know, and it's like a mirror to look at those things. And I mean, now in the world, we have so many different layers of culture and different transitioning and different like progressive parenting versus conservative parenting. Like there's a lot going on right now. You know, I mean, there's a lot of non-binary kids that are being stunted and being able to grow up. Can they go to the camps with people? Can they not? Do they have to go to their special queer family camp? I don't know. You know, I mean, people are dealing with that in real time. And as much as people want to take something back to, I don't know what decade they're going for, there were people already progressing and having very fluid families. And now we're going to have to look at that, if we will. But I think it was a good lens to kind of like stop and go, oh yeah, I think we all could have a place in those films.
Also, the very end, when you have two lesbians, one in her underpants, covered in blood,
Iconic.
coming out of like a grocery store holding hands, and kids are just like squirting each other with squirt guns, like they
Right.
don't even care. Like
Right.
it's the most normal thing in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
I think kind of hits the flip side of the like
You're right.
gender panic.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
reverse, the imaginary world we could have, right?
And didn't even rinse them off. I kept expecting to see, the hose rinse.
And back to the cashier getting a compliment about her hair, I mean,
The cashier. You will love, you will laugh, you will cry. You'll want her phone number. Girl, I know. I've stood at that cashier too. No, but I'll say one last heavy thing, because then I think we should get into slightly more lighthearted criticisms of horror. But so it reminded me a lot too of this other film that came to Houston. This is why, like you mentioned earlier, film festivals, you never know what you're going to see. At Q Fest, I sat through whole films that
So
were
many
literally
different
just
things.
two guys fucking each other across a beach with poetic background, musings.
Was that Derek Jarman? Derek Jarman did a lot of those in the late
Not
80s.
German, but oh my God, there was another German one. Oh.
Okay.
Some of our relatives are still scarred, but
That was the armpit licking, right?
no, that wasn't that
Or the
one.
one
That
where
was
they were like hitting each other with the nettles.
I think maybe
That one.
Yeah,
See?
but again,
It's
you
gonna be
have
one or
to
two.
be there. But
Jennifer is still scarred.
Jennifer's still scarred, but oh shit. Anyway, so film festivals, you never know what you're gonna get. This one film came to Houston during the Black Media Summit for one of our festivals, and it was a film about the history of lynching. And so it was done by a first-time female filmmaker. It was a documentary, and we had a talk with her before we even saw the film, and she was very careful to emphasize that when she did the film, it took her like 10 years. She started actually on a theater troupe that did reenactments in the South of actual lynching cases because to teach the history so it never happens again. So it's like they started with an all-black ensemble, and then slowly more Caucasians started to join. And a lot of the Caucasians were children of parents who used to take them to lynching picnics. So they grew up with this internalized trauma of watching their parents become these murderers before their eyes, and then going home and being like, oh, here, let's make you a sandwich, So it's like that duality. But they were very passionate about like, no, I'm doing this for the theater group because I believe that we should never return here, right?
Wow.
Because it needs to be done.
Wow.
So she started with the theater group, and then there was a crime in a little bit of a nearby town of a young man who was found in a tree. And the cops said, well, of course, it's suicide, right? So it's like they didn't even investigate all this stuff. She pivoted to start investigating that. The parents were arguing with the cops. There was another crime. So she started with a theater reenactment of history. And then went into true crime happening around us at the same time.
Wow.
And to tie it all together, she showed pictures of old lynching picnics.
Right.
But she said, I was very careful not to show the actual body in any visible way. I showed the expressions on the people's faces as they were watching this. And a lot were really smiling, and they were enjoying things like your go-to 4th of July party, right?
Wow.
Kids, adults, all these things. She wanted the audience to acknowledge the horror of the experience while not re-traumatizing that section of society and having to see violence visited on bodies.
Like here's a mirror
by
to the people
bodies.
who are doing it, not necessarily traumatizing the people that already suffered.
It sounds like she was being careful with is you have to be careful that you don't create an excitement.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you'll start to see it acted out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely a bold choice for the theater.
Well, and again, it's like violence in a lot of horror movies is reenactment, and it's also exciting. A lot of violence is depicted, a lot of traditional like violation scenes in movies are depicted in a sexualized, exciting way. There's like one French film that really combated that. In the beginning of their movie, there is an assault, and they focused on her pain, on everything, and they drew it out so long that the audience started
Irreversible.
leaving the theater.
Yeah.
And this was actually the director's intent. He even played a low-level audio signal that is designed to irritate human ears.
It makes you nauseous.
Yeah.
Actually, for some
And the
people.
director said, my goal was to have people walk out of the theater. I wanted them to leave because this is a horrible story.
Right. We should
It's like
we
they
should not
shouldn't
reenact
enjoy
this. Yeah.
This trauma. So
Right.
again, there's this artistic
Wow.
angle, but also this very human examination now of all these genres and things where we're going back in, and part of the film analysis, part of the metatextual reference is how can we show this and learn a lesson without re-traumatizing ourselves? How do we
Right.
do the
Right.
reenactment therapy without hurting
Right.
ourselves?
Right.
So one of the things also,
Yeah.
right, and I think, you had kind of briefly mentioned the thing that I'm writing,
Yeah.
and it kind of made me think of this, and it's that who in the film that gets killed by the
Ventman.
Ventman, were you really upset that they got killed?
No.
Which of the people were not unlikable?
Well, they never developed any connection.
Exactly.
Right.
We didn't, yeah.
Right. And so I think there's something to be said there. I think sometimes when we do see these, like, especially older slasher films, you get this like character development where you make a connection to this
Start to learn
character,
about them.
and then like, oh, they get killed, and you're like, oh.
That
But
was a
here,
one
like, they were
person.
either obnoxious or
Yeah.
they were just like a face,
Mm-hmm.
so you didn't really feel bad about it.
Yeah,
I was really
that's right.
hoping that one gross guy that was pressuring her into sex would just get stabbed through the head.
Just because.
Just because.
Well,
Her partner seemed cool.
Yeah.
That was made me go, oh.
I honestly, yeah, I'm with you on that a little bit. Also, I recognize the actress. She's in another horror movie franchise, Scream. She plays the BIPOC daughter of one of the original movie casts who didn't come back for the remakes and stuff. And she's like the investigative reporter, and she's kind of bitchy in those movies, but also she's kind of like, aw,
Even like
I like
the
her.
character's girlfriend and the girlfriend's
That was
boyfriend, right? Like when they got killed, you weren't like, oh no.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, you were like, oh. And then when
I was like a little
the guy gets
disappointed,
it, you're
but-
kind of like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was real unlikable.
You know, that's another trope, though. Is like, okay, I'm gonna make these characters so unlikable,
That
no
when
one's
they
gonna
die.
care
Yeah.
or criticize me
Yeah.
in endless notes and letters to the studio. That you know,
Because in the late 80s, mid 80s, there were some pseudo horror films, and in the first 2 or 3 minutes, you already found all the people are going to die because
Yeah.
they made them just horrible at the first, 2 or 3 minutes.
You
And
were
then you
waiting.
can relax, go to the concession stand, do whatever you need because you know who's
We
going
know
to die.
And I think the discussion of Psycho was interesting also.
Yes.
Not just the kind of
Shower curtain.
yeah, that whole thing about like Psycho from the point of view of the shower curtain, which is hilarious and totally like
on tour.
12 people's student films.
Oh, God,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
But if you know about Psycho, like when Psycho came out, it totally flipped like the horror movie genre on its head because it spent a good, 30 minutes developing this character that you think is like the main character. Only to kill her off in this like traumatic thing, and then the movie goes a direction that nobody was expecting.
Yeah.
But
It's still genuinely scary, too.
but it's one of those things of like, if you know the thing about Psycho, you can never have that true experience of seeing it.
True.
Whereas like the folks that saw it when
God,
it came
right.
out, like mind blown.
Yeah.
But by the time you see it, like whether it's in the 80s or 90s or now, if you've never seen it, you already know, what the twist, whatever is.
Oh yeah.
You already know what's going to happen in the shower. It's so iconic that you can never truly experience that like Psycho
But
moment.
an awful lot of people, if they watch it now, haven't really, and part of the problem is a lot of TVs don't present it well. They haven't really experienced, Hitchcock's Flash. The red flash. And I've heard people totally 100% surprised by just how much it affected them because they're,
Oh yeah.
what he did it. But
Subliminal message.
It also, one of the things too, because I watch movies from everywhere and all time periods. I recently
nerds.
revisited Some Like It Hot, and so to see the way that like cross-dressing and even like that iconic ending, and thinking about like the shift to like how we talked about like transness and queerness in horror movies in like the 80s, how between that time and like that, what that shift, where did that come from? How did that happen?
Yeah.
And then to see kind of like where we are now, where we started to get like really great trans and like gender fluid and queer representation. And then suddenly we get that like pendulum swing backwards.
So that's a great segue into what Rebecca does, because
Do tell us about it, Rebecca.
the kind of stories Rebecca produces.
I suggest that if we came down off of our hill here, that we take about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yes.
Because I need to go to the restroom.
Okay, take a pause and we'll come back.
Also,
We've got to take a puppy pad break.
Also, are you going to tell us later? I was going to ask you a question about like how can we get involved in Zoom Shakespeare, but should I wait?
you.
Are you gonna talk about that?
Yes,
Okay. Then
That's why I wanted
save it for later.
We'll come back.
so much.
Because we got to dig into the history of Shakespeare and gender expression,
Yes.
all that stuff.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, we all know all
Da, da,
about
da,
that.
da, da, da.
Oh yeah, and the fact that
It's for the youngins.
the fact that people very often, I mean, it gets back to the whole like classical text thing, and like
God, yes.
people see these stories the same way 100 times. And hello, look around.
Yes.
That doesn't work anymore.
Time isn't just a linear progression.
We saw what was it? Taming of the Shrew. It's set in like 1950s.
Oh yeah, you saw that classical.
Yeah. And it's really
One of my
interesting.
mom's favorite Shakespeare ones is Twelfth Night, which is basically the actual textual Shakespearean like cross-dressing genderqueer.
We had a couple, but yeah, it's so
He had a
clear.
lot, but yeah, that's one of her favorites.
Yeah.
And so we've seen like multiple.
I like a
versions
lot
and
of
stuff.
it. I do like Othello.
Yeah, I honestly really like Othello. I even like some of the more, except for that, you know,
Except for that one part.
except for that one part movies.
When it's done well, it can really hit home. When it's not done well, like the classical theater did it, and our good friend Snow, who was our Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet, who was like,
oh my god, he did it. Oh, nice.
and well, so Snow was Bianca, and this is a really cool Indian woman, and.
Oh, the one who just did the play in town, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Snow Adira was Bianca, who's the only, and there were 2 actors of color in that show. And I'm like, if you're gonna cast, don't cast the other non-white actor in your entire. First of all, Houston casts that all white. Piss me the fuck off.
Oh yeah. No, I'm there with you. And a lot of theater. Honestly, it's not just Houston. It's a lot of.
Fourth Wall does a really good job usually of diversity. They are doing Proof with an all-white cast.
Yeah.
If you want to have the family look the same, sure. But the boyfriend can be any race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'm like the non-purist of like, you can't cast a black area. That's like, yeah. She's a mermaid. She's a
Dumbass.
They're not real.
This is just such a cool conversation. Like,
That's the way
so-
we always try to do 22
this is so much
questions.
fun.
We talk about stuff. And, try to get to know people,
yeah.
which is totally different than I've got these 16 questions.
Which,
You know,
do y'all have an next following?
it's getting to be reasonable.
Okay.
We've had a couple thousand downloads. now.
Hey, that's, considering, how many freaking endless numbers of podcasts.
Well, and our podcasts are not short.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the 15-minute or 30-minute.
But see, that's not enough for me. I'm always like,
We go up to like 3+ hours sometimes. As I tell people,
We did one where like in the middle of it, what was it? Somebody came to the door to talk about candidates, so we just shifted and had them.
these
come
were
and
the
talk.
candidates we knew, and it's like, tell them to come on in. And so we
That's
just added
awesome.
him to the middle.
yeah, it's just a really, and I think that this movie, no matter what people's opinions of it are, it's definitely a conversation. Dollar Blue.
Ooh, Hershey's.